Jason and the Argonauts. Pelias was the ruler of Iolcus, but he was an anxious king. An oracle had warned him that one of his relatives would one day steal his throne.
The prophetess had told him, "The man who will challenge you will arrive on your doorstep wearing only one sandal." From that day, Pelias had been on high alert. Then Pelias' nephew, Jason, returned after being away for a long time. On his way back to the palace, I imagine Jason being strong, bulky, and handsome, like this man.
Or this one.
On his way back to the palace, Jason had fallen crossing a river and lost one of his sandals in the fast-flowing water. Aw, that sandal must have cost a lot.
When Pelias saw Jason, he was struck with fear. He made a plan to get rid of Jason. Talk about a loving family.
Dear nephew, Pelias told Jason, there is a sheep's fleece made of pure gold that belongs to King Ares of Colchis, and I want it. Will you go and fetch it for me? Jason was an adventurer at heart, and he agreed at once to go. What Jason did not know was how dangerous a journey it would be. Pelias had chosen this mission specifically because he believed there was no chance Jason or his men will survive it. Jason gathered an impressive crew, including the mighty Heracles, son of Zeus, and the famed musician Orpheus. Don't forget to hear his music on Greekify. Okay. Together, they set sail on a sturdy ship called the Argo and headed for Colchis.
On their voyage, they stopped in the kingdom of Thrace. This was the home of the prophet Phineas. He had once been a great ruler, but he had angered Zeus when he shared too much of the future with his people. As a punishment, Zeus took away his sight and sent terrible monsters called harpies to torment him.
I didn't know Zeus was so cruel. Each harpy had the head of a woman but the body of a bird.
The harpies circled Phineas constantly, and whenever he tried to eat, they swooped down and stole the food right out of his hands. When Jason and his men came across the blind prophet, they took pity on him. Two of the crew waited for Phineas to start his meal, and when the harpies flew down to steal it, they ran at them, swords drawn. The monsters were scared off for good. To show his gratitude, Phineas shared the crew with the fastest route to Colchis.
Whenever Phineas tried to eat, the harpies stole the food from his hands.
Phineas directed Jason to the Symplegades. These were two cliffs bordering a narrow channel of water. It was the shortcut to Colchis, but there was one problem. Whenever a ship tried to pass, the cliffs crashed together, crashing the vessel to splinters. Luckily, Phineas knew the secret to sailing through safely, which he explained to Jason.
As the Argo approached the channel, Jason let a dove loose.
The dove entered the channel and the cliffs began to rumble, but the bird flew so fast that by the time the cliffs clashed, it had zipped through. The Argonauts quickly rowed the ship forward as the cliffs drew back. As they approached the channel's end, the cliffs began to rumble again, and their men raced to the exit. Crash! They had made it, but only just. They lost the wooden statue at the stern of their ship.
Aw, why do they make a dove do that? When Jason and his crew finally landed on the coast of Colchis, they went straight to the palace. As soon as they arrived, Jason asked for an audience with the king and found himself standing in front of Ares and his family.
The mischievous god of love, Eros, was watching. He decided to play a trick. Not a trickster again.
Yeah. Eros made Ares' daughter, Medea, fall passionately in love with Jason. She hung on Jason's every word when he spoke to her father. "Ares," said Jason, "I have been sent here to ask for the golden fleece. I cannot return home without it. I will do anything you ask of me in exchange for it." At this, Ares laughed nastily. "Fine," he said snidely. "Tomorrow you will have a chance to win the fleece. I want you to harness the fire-breathing balls I keep. Then you must plow a field outside my palace and sow this bag of dragon's teeth. Jason accepted Ares' challenge, but Medea was very worried.
Luckily, Maria was no ordinary princess.
She was also a witch and skilled in magic. That night she went to find Jason. "I wish to help you," she said, "but you must make me a promise first. My father will be furious if I aided you, so you must take me home with you and make me your wife." "Of course," said Jason, glad of the clever Medea's assistance.
Maria gave Jason a bottle. "Spread this potion on your armor and will protect you from harm," she explained. The next day, everyone gathered to watch Jason attempt the impossible task. Protected by Medea's potion, however, Jason was able to approach the fire-breathing bulls without being burned, harness them, and plow the field. Next, he sprinkled the dragon's teeth on the upturned soil. Suddenly, where the teeth had fallen, soldiers sprung from the ground. Never try that at home.
Where each tooth was planted, an armed soldier climbed out of the ground. Jason had to think and act quickly. He spotted a rock on the ground and flung it into the middle of the armed men. It hit one of the soldiers on the back. The soldier spun around, glared at his nearest neighbor, and drew his sword. Confused, the men attacked each other, and soon a huge fight broke out. Jason was able to cut down the remaining soldiers easily. Ares was furious. "You must have cheated," he said. "If you want the fleece, go and get it. It is guarded by a dragon at the edge of my kingdom. Let's see you get past that."
Medea went with Jason to the cliffs where the dragon dwelled. Once again, she brought a potion. As she crept up to the dragon and sprayed the liquid into its eyes, sending the monster into a deep sleep. Jason sneaked behind the snoring dragon and grabbed the golden fleece from behind the tree,
from which it hung. Together, he and Medea ran to the shore where Jason's men were waiting. They boarded the ship and the crew set sail without delay. After many months at sea,
Jason and his new wife arrived back in Iolcus. Jason had been gone so long, however, that everyone had assumed he was dead, and his heartbroken parents had passed away. The elderly King Pelias was happy, though, because he thought he was safe. When Jason went to give the fleece to Pelias, the king was disappointed to see him, but he accepted it gladly. He didn't even mention Jason's parents. Jason was enraged. He went to Medea and together they hatched a plot for revenge.
Even so far from home, Medea's skills as a witch were well known, and she used this to her advantage. She went to Pelias' daughters. "I can teach you a spell to make your father young again," she promised. "How?" the girls asked eagerly. "It's very simple. You must cut your father into tiny pieces and boil them in the water," Medea replied. So funny. The princesses were unsure at first, but Medea demonstrated her spell by cutting up a ram and turning it into a lamb.
Now they were convinced.
Pelias' daughters were not witches, however, and when they attempted Medea's spell, their father did not come back to life as the lamb had done. With Pelias dead, his son Acastus succeeded him, Jason and Medea from the kingdom.
Still, as years went by, Jason dreamed of returning to Iolcus. Then Jason learned that one of the other Argonauts, Pelias, was planning to attack Acastus. Jason rushed to join him in the fight. Acastus was easily defeated, and for his help, Jason became the ruler of Iolcus. The prophecy that his uncle Pelias had feared had finally come true. Oh my god. Well, that, guys, is the end. And don't forget to subscribe
And wait for more videos.
See you next time.